The first One Piece starter decks are finally out and they are an absolute blast. While they all can do powerful things compared to each other, you'll have to make some adjustments if you want to keep up with your playgroup as your friends begin upgrading their decks. Upgrading your starter decks also makes them much more replayable and exciting. Luckily, Romance Dawn, the first booster set, released alongside the starter decks. We'll be looking at how to upgrade from the starter decks using cards from Romance Dawn, and we'll be doing it on a budget. Secret rare prices are crazy right now, and you can play with power without spending a One Piece out of pocket. As we look to upgrade these decks, there will be some common themes. To find room to upgrade the decks, we will be looking to replace characters without abilities, which are commonly called vanillas. We will look for cards that either fit the plan for each deck and provide unique effects not found in the starter decks, or are individually powerful. Of course, all these recommendations are made with the idea of keeping these upgrades budget friendly, but I'll still mention other options in case your budget is a bit higher, or so you know what cards to keep an eye out for. First in line is the Straw Hat Crew, and the plan with this deck is simple. It doesn't matter how cool looking your opponent's cards are if you punch their leader to death. The first upgrade can be made to the leader himself. If you thought being able to provide a single Dawn to one of your characters was powerful, Zoro's leader card can pump all of your characters with a single Dawn. Karoo can be swapped out for Sanji or Gordon. The defensive ability of 2000 counters is useful, and both replacements have an option to draw you a card in case they aren't what you needed, providing you more options throughout the game than any vanilla could. Vivi can be replaced with Romance Dawn's Usopp. Usopp is another 2000 counter who has a nice ability for only a single Dawn to draw a card when our opponent tries to stop our attacks with events. Our opponents not being able to react to attacks or letting us draw a card is a win-win for the Straw Hats. Robin can be swapped for her Romance Dawn counterpart. For the low cost of 1000 attack, we gain the insanely strong ability to just start KOing our opponent's weaker characters. There are a variety of powerful low attack characters that you want KO'd as soon as possible, including basic blockers. Frankie is the last vanilla, and he can be swapped for Brook. Brook can make it easier to manage our opponent's blockers by making them much weaker, or having the powerful synergy with our new Robin. For the remaining cards, the only swap I would recommend would be replacing the Thousand Sunnies and Diable Jambes. While the Thousand Sunny can be useful, it only provides 1000 power on any one turn, when you could be spending the same initial 2 Dawn to play almost any character and get the same effect, but stronger. Diable Jambe has a unique and situationally powerful effect, but it is only good in certain situations. Arguably the most powerful defensive character in Romance Dawn, Captain Kidd, doesn't even care about Jambe. We also now have Robin as a consistent way to get rid of the basic blockers Jambe was there for anyway. My recommended replacement would be the simply named Gum Gum Fire Fist Pistol Redhawk. For the cost of 2 Dawn and having to say the name of the card, you get a reaction of 4000 power and KOing a 4000 or less character of your opponent's. It even has the unique trigger of shrinking basically anything down to 0 power for a turn. This card is so powerful I assumed I misread it on my first reading, and once again, if you're replacing Jambe with more copies of this card, it's another way to clear blockers. Here's the updated list for the Straw Hats. They can be upgraded for an incredibly low price. There are more expensive options to upgrade the deck, which can include Romance Dawn's Otama, Nami, and Luffy. The big ticket item for this deck would be Romance Dawn's Zoro character card. The game plan for the worst generation is mid-range. It aims to trade blows with some powerful characters in the middle of the game. Romance Dawn does provide some nice generic upgrades over the vanilla options. It also helps to focus on the Supernova type cards to help out Bonnie and X-Drake be even better in the deck. Beppo can be swapped for Urouge and Killer from the starter deck. The one-cost 3000 vanillas can often end up doing nothing since they take a good deal of Dawn to attack leaders, and when you have the Dawn later in the game, you'd rather have almost any other card. Urouge is a strong attacker early, and Killer is nice removal and threatens to trigger more often than we have in the base deck. Heat can be swapped for Romance Dawn's Killer. Having a blocker that can replace itself is incredibly useful. This is part of why Boa Hancock is a powerful blue card. Vito can be swapped for several different cards. Many have similar roles, but I have chosen Izo based on her having a 2000 counter. Izo allows to rest one of our opponent's cheaper characters and handle a role player or a blocker. Raizo is another replacement with a unique card drawing ability. Kobe is the last vanilla, and he can be swapped for Romance Dawn's X-Drake. X-Drake has a cool 6000 power, which makes him difficult to battle with leaders, and can turn games around by KOing an opposing character with a cost of 4 or less. X-Drake is a Gum Gum jet pistol if it left behind an attacker for only 1 more Dawn. The events in the worst generation deck are a bit on the weak side to start out with. When Repel is good, it is often simply because of the power increase, not because it allows you to play a 1-cost event after. For the effective Scalpel, we could play another 2000 counter card and do the same thing for free with the option of playing the character. Straw Sword certainly has its spots, but is often not enough utility worth an entire card when there are effects such as Izo. We are replacing all the event cards and adding 2 in their place. Paradise Waterfall has synergy with our big blockers and is perfect for Romance Dawn's killer. Punk Gibson can deny our opponent out of 2 attacks by countering one and resting their other character, or allowing us to attack a weaker character on our turn. Another upside is all of our events have triggers. Worst Generation certainly has some powerful cards to keep in mind according to your budget, ranging from Romance Dawn's, Law, Yamato, and the Captain himself. To bridge to those cards, you can look to finish your playset of the starter deck Law and Kid. The 7 Warlords play uniquely compared to the other starter decks. They try to take advantage of the ability to return characters to hand, temporarily answering them before your opponent can stabilize the game and deploy their cards. Buggy can be swapped for Alvida. Alvida's attack ability to bounce lower cost units is good against weak blockers, but is situational because of the discard cost. She's primarily played for her 2000 counter. Jinbei can be swapped for Romance Dawn's Don Quito da Flamingo. His ability to set up our draws and be a medium-sized blocker is unique. The information of knowing what cards are coming can let you build a game plan around which characters to bounce. The change that stands out the most would be Edward Weevil for Romance Dawn's Crocodile. Crocodile provides a heavy hitter who can close out games and give great utility, allowing us to have more Dawn to work with while using our events. 7 Warlords arguably have the strongest set of events in the starter decks, so I wouldn't look to remove any of them. Pacifista is still in the deck because of Sentamaru. If you wanted to make more radical changes, you could try swapping the duo for more events like Overheat, Crescent Cutlass, or even event support in Miss All Sunday. Here is our updated list for the Warlords. A different direction for the 7 Warlords would be to get leader Don Quito da Flamingo and going deeply into playing 7 Warlords type characters. Boa Hancock and Dracul Mihawk would be the big upgrades from Romance Dawn to look out for. The Animal Kingdom uses Dawn as a resource pool and is either gaining more of it or spending it for huge effects. Animal Kingdom got a ton of unique, powerful, and fun cards from Romance Dawn. Black Maria and Jin Rummy are being taken out together. Black Maria may look odd at first because it's the first blocker we have taken out of the starter decks, but this is because in this particular deck there is a better option in Kurazumi Higurashi. This better blocker is even stronger in combination with Kurazumi Semimaru. Using his ability, we can block every turn without our character being KO'd. Sheep's Head is being swapped for Sasaki, yet another 2000 counter who can be a serviceable attacker and ramp us into more Dawn at the same time. X-Drake is being replaced with Romance Dawn's ulti. Ulti provides yet another way to gain Dawn and has the added flexibility of being played for only 2 Dawn if you need an early attacker against aggressive opponents like Zoro. While you can leave in the starter deck's ulti in page 1, there are other options you could try in their place, such as Kirashiru and Romance Dawn's X-Drake. If you don't want to change so many things at once, you could also just try Romance Dawn's page 1 instead of the starter decks. With all the new and character-based ways to ramp, I would replace All-Star Calamities with a big reward for gaining Dawn in the form of Romance Dawn's King. If KOing 2 characters wasn't enough to swing the game in your favor, getting a massive character should sweeten the deal enough. Here is the original deck versus our updated version. Being a strategy that wants to play big flashy cards to end the game, Romance Dawn's Kaido character is something to keep your eyes out for. More copies of the starter deck's own queen is another solid way to improve the deck. I hope you find this guide on how to improve the starter decks with Romance Dawn helpful. Let me know what changes you have made to improve these decks, or if you think I've missed something. I know I have enjoyed the One Piece card game a ton, and I'm looking forward to making more content like this in the future.